simple flash that ignited the blaze, stinging insults from some den-born Omani, attempting to put her in her place. Mixed breed, mud spawn of sin, get off the streets, you smell of piss and shit. Go back to the gutters where your kind belong. Your kind offends the senses, you should not exist. They went on at length, to the point they blurred. She stood there undisturbed, she had heard these before. Superstitious idiots, tools of the gods, easily manipulated fools. I'm not who they think I am, what they see in me. It's not the half-breed monster I appear to be, but the reflections that light in the shadows of their souls. The scars I bear I will never show, and some run deeper than death will ever reach. What tombs are treasures piled high in their coffers when people go hungry and sleep in the cold? What can one do when your love demands my lovely? Why listen to your betters when all they do is lie? Why suffer the yoke of the gods whom deems you rare? Sacrifice are hypocrites and sinners according to their fates, or blinded by their scriptures to the truth staring them in the face. But the joke's on them, I'm not who they think I am. I'm Risha, deMar, the saint of cats, the princess of thieves, destined demon queen, the people's blade, the beggar's shield. I will not be cowed, I refuse to kneel. Bright were the sister moons the night she assailed the walls of the noble born that had insulted her soul. It was not from pride that she slid past the guards. What anger there was, she left with the trap front door. What vengeance was there in such an act of pocketing the candies and absconding their snacks? This was a lesson in humility as she plundered the vault's treasury. What value was there in manners? Just as the painting she unhooked. If one cannot appreciate the effort they took, like the ancestral scrolls she reverently stoned, or use our courtesies if they are ignored. Rank and peerage have their weight, just as the marble bathing tub she poured all the way. Of all the things she could have left untouched was the stationery upon which this message she wrote. Morning sunshine, hope you slept well. You may have noticed a few things gone. Do you remember when you called me shite, when you debraded my family because of love's blind sight, when you blamed me for all the realm's ills, when you prayed I would be struck down with all your God's might? Did you not for a moment pause to think of whom you address, score up their ranks? The joke's on you, mate, you never asked who I was. Allow me to introduce myself since the chant passed us by. I am Risha, deMar, the saint of cats. I am the princess of thieves, the destined demon queen. I am the people's blade, the beggar's shield. I will not be cowed, and I refuse to kneel. You may have heard of my deeds, though you believe them fantasy, of the trickster thief that stole the realms of the Kalorn, a man that sold Asharah to hell. But you, mate, you went too far. You crossed a line and now must pay a price. And I always collect on my debts. What was yours is now mine. I took everything down to your sheets. Sadly, I must go. This has been fun, but the night has grown old. Just mind the front door on your way out. Somewhere near dusk, in some rural town, no bigger than a hamlet with humble farmlands around. The sun was just setting, and the bartender had begun to strum. The local public house was starting to come to life, and stories were beginning to be sung. She had lingered here for about a week, not caring for its name. It was just a place to rest, to kick up her feet, a place to get out of the rain. With shadows long upon the roads and wanderlust starring once more, she hoisted her pack, and upon the table 5 coins she did place, of silver and gold embossed with forgotten lords of old, and walked through the doors into the night and the leagues beyond. She imagined the shock that would ripple through that small community when they discovered each would pay 1 year's wages for each parish round, but she would not be there to see their face, to feast on their everlasting praise. The realms of wonder called her name. Asharah's hidden treasures were hers to claim. Joke's on them, I'm more than they will ever be. I'm Risha deMar, the sage of cats, the princess of thieves, destined demon queen, the people's blade, the beggar shield, the trickster thieves that stole the realms, the one that cannot be cowed, the one that refuses to kneel. Next time, maybe the joke's on me. The joke's on you.